Assalamualaikum, hello, good morning, kamusta, sawadikap, selamat pagi, magadang umaga, namaste. I am Zaha Izrin Zahari. I'm actually the Tosh Group Regional Director of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. I'm also the project director of this Zoom networking platform. We created this Zoom networking during the pandemic with one good reason to connect with our friends, partners, and clients around the region. And we have this motto that we believe in, which is Nokia, connecting people. And we actually enhance it, making like network obviously keep interest available. All right, without further ado, let me introduce our special guest, came all the way from India, Miss Abha Maryada, also known as the ASEAN Oprah. She is an expert at leadership, human peak performance, emotional intelligence. Having spoke at the prestigious forum across Asia, she had coached and consulted top CEOs, media personalities, sports stars, business people, leaders in the making, has been closely associated with the spiritual aspect of the leadership. So I'll pass you the floor.
Thank you, Zaha. Good morning, everybody. So it's an earlier morning in my side of the world. So it's 7:30 in the morning in India where I am. You guys have more time to dress up. I didn't have. So it's a good way to start though. But thank you very much, Torch Group, to have me here, inviting me, and I'm glad to be with all of you. So I hope that this session is going to be great. And the topic that we're talking about today is about emotions. And all of us know very well that we carry our emotions at all times. 100% times our emotions are with us. However, we are not very aware of it. So recent studies have shown across the world there is overwhelming evidence across the world that it is very crucial for us, for our performances, to be a leader, to be a good work person, that emotion should be developed to a point where you are in a position to use them for yourself, for your betterment, for your better performances, for your better speaking, for your better way to interact with people, to be a good player in the team. There's so many ways that emotions can be used. So if I were to say in the corporate environment, starting from people's productivity, corporate productivity, talent retention, uh, dream teams, customer loyalty, creative leadership, imagine, I mean, coaching the workforce to excellence, emotional fitness in the corporate sense, change management, peak performance, everything needs emotions. And I'm surprised that we are not talking about it as much as we should. And Zaha, I was just mentioning, I have been working across Asia. I was living in Indonesia for a very long time. And I realized that people were actually teaching men emotional intelligence. The leaders were being taught emotional intelligence, men, so that they can become better leaders. So we used to wonder because we were women and said, I have it already, please take me as a leader. So we are always fighting with them so we can do a better job. But now the problem here is that men are trained as leaders, but they do not have the EQ to handle that. Women have the EQ, but they're not trained as leaders, right? So the important part here is that we in Asia have, I think, an issue because all of us keep our emotions beneath the surface. We are taught culturally to not show our emotions. We are emotional people, but we are not taught that we can show emotion at the workplace. It is not deemed to be right. We think it's not the best thing to do. Workplace, we should be very serious, and we should be quiet, and etc etc. Our culture follows everywhere, and this is one of the reasons why emotional intelligence has taken a huge beating in Asia, and the Western people study us, the way we function. The way we function, they study the way our emotional intelligence functions. So because we hide our emotions beneath the surface in our daily business interactions, it loses its place as an asset in our life. It's an asset. Okay. So if you were to inspire people, influence people, face your practical leadership challenges, emotions play a huge role. And my personal reason for working with emotional intelligence or emotions is to share I'm a very emotional person. So emotional doesn't mean that I cry or I have outbursts. That is the extreme of emotions. But all your emotions can be used to empower and to support your actions at all point of time. And all your actions lead to your results. So surprisingly, people do not use that emotion when they get into action. And as a person from human potential field, we use emotion for everything. We in fact bring in extra emotion. If I were to take action, I'd say I will bring in my emotion, this kind of emotion. You identify the emotion, you push that emotion through, you take action. So this is what is the important part, because emotions can be a very colorful, very vibrant space. It's more about romance, huh? When we talk emotion, we say we are in falling in love. And that's exactly how it is, because we should be falling in love with our work. We should be falling in love with our teams. We should be in love with our friends. It's not the romantic love, but the power that an emotion has in terms of bringing that focus into the space, because you work from a place of love and emotion. You are in a position to do better. You imagine, all of you, if you could put in the chat box, have you ever been in love? Any of us over here? I have been. Have you been in love? Yes. And how does it feel? It feels great, right? So yeah, and that's exactly how emotions should work. That's exactly how emotions are supposed to work. So I was working when I've been working on peak performance with Olympians. I've worked with CEOs. I've worked with high potential individuals, and all of them, despite their heavy performances, were stuck in some places where they said we can't bring that part of us out. So since the year 2000, because I am good at it, I created very high impact problems. And we worked with several corporates and to get this emotional fitness into the corporate zoo. Let's see if we can get the corporate people to understand that emotion actually works for them, and we should allow that to happen. But the way we do business in Asia, uh, it's again, like I mentioned in the beginning, we like to put it beneath the surface. We don't talk as much. We do not show what we are feeling. We don't like the idea. We are, if you look at a Westerner, they talk a lot. They talk because they are able to express and add their emotion to the conversation. We don't do that. Why does it matter here in Asia? Why is emotional intelligence a thing that we need to worry about, especially in Asia? Because all these concepts have come from the West. There is no Asian concept. I'm probably the first person who started something called emotional fitness for corporates, and I pushed it through my entire work, because we are working on very Western concept. It's scientifically, biologically, it's all right, but we have to have practical tools to work through our cultures, to work through my person. Because if I'm in India, I'm living in Indonesia, I'm in Singapore, I'm in Malaysia, we come from a different mindset, and therefore we have to use our emotion in a different way. So I call it a science. I say this is a science biologically, because that's how psychology says it is, but it is also an art. It is an art to use your emotions, and especially at workplace. How many of us feel comfortable being using our emotions? A lot of people will say no. Are you comfortable using your emotions at workplace, or you just focused on work? How do you work on that?
Is always best. I mean, the thing is, people have a different concept about emotion.
Right.
People always take it more negative instead of positive. That's
Thank
why,
you so much.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like use of emotions is considered negative, right? And when we say use of emotions is considered negative, we are talking about people getting angry. We are talking about people getting sad. We are talking about people entering into conflict. We are talking about people not supporting each other. So this is the side of emotion which is negative and which should not come into the workplace. But there is obviously the other side to emotions, which actually increases your performance by, say, almost 5,000%. So I just mentioned the word love and romance. I mean, you know how good you feel then, right? You can do anything when you're in love, right? You can just go and jump from a cliff and you think you're doing a great job, right? And you don't feel it's a negative emotion. It's a positive emotion. So when we are talking about emotional intelligence, we are talking about how to utilize our emotions, the positive side of it, and even the negative side of it, for our communications, for our team building, for our projects, for the way we are going to do our work. So it is mainly our ability. Emotional intelligence is what? It is our ability to identify and use these emotions resourcefully. It is a resource. We don't consider it a resource. Emotion is immediately, like you said, and you very rightly said, it's all negative. It's all negative. Emotion means emotion and business do not go together. They say emotion and business do not go together. We are using emotions purely for reasons of peak performance. Can I improve my company's performance by improving the emotional performance of people in my company? And it's always it's a skill that we can all develop. So today I'm going to quickly take you through a PowerPoint that I've created for you, which is a small 8-slide PowerPoint where you can actually see how we can use emotions and how it makes you a better person, how it makes you a better team player also, how it makes you a better speaker. So, like for example, if I have spoken in about 18 or 20 countries, and each country has a different culture. You can't use a certain kind of humor, you can't use a certain kind of expression, but emotional intelligence will teach you that you are, once you're aware of yourself and what you're trying to say, you can communicate your emotions and your words in a very, very different way. If I were to ask you as a business person, do you think emotional intelligence can add to your business performance and
Def-
delivering results? Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely, it's a big, big thing which should be used, and the engagement from that emotional perspective. We don't engage from the emotional perspective, so engagement from the emotional perspective becomes very, very powerful, and we haven't used that. And the first part, I'd say that let me share my screen with you.
Yes,
Um,
please. You
just one
are.
second.
You can share.
Yeah, just one second. Give me 1 second. Okay, can you see this? Emotions at workplace?
Yes.
You can, right? So let me move to the first part. Now, here is the thing. We are in a place where you have to understand what it really means. And all of us, even if I did not show you that screen, I can tell you from um, a place of absolute common sense that we all have that. However, we have not worked on ourselves to understand it in this way. So it's me and you, for example. So it's I am there. So it's about me, how aware I am about my emotions and how I manage that emotion. Then it is you, Zaha. I'm talking to you, for example, and your team. What about you guys? Are you aware? Are you, as an outside team, as a torch group, I'm meeting you for the first time. Would I be aware of your awareness? And if I was, how do I manage that relationship with you? So if you see that little picture there, on top is my emotion, for example. So you can put yourself up there on the top. And at the bottom is the emotion in others. Now, we are not showing this. That's why all the bombardments happen, all the tsunamis happen because of this. So we do not show our emotions. You're not showing your emotions. We are talking about stuff. But see, I see a smile on your face, and which is nice because, it's a very common uh, a way to express your happiness. Some level of joy, some level of a little bit of excitement. You can probably, when you're listening to me, you can probably relate to something in the background, which brings a smile to your face. Now, if I'm watching you, I'll be able to see that and understand that. So the lady down there, which is lovely, beautiful hair, and what's her name? I can see her on the screen. Straight haired, below Gisela. Are you seeing the same screen as I am? What's that name on the screen? I'm not able to see. She is also smiling. So Gisela is not smiling. She doesn't like my presentation, so she's not smiling. So let's see if she can smile. I can bring a smile on her face, so she can hear me, and there's a smile on her face. So what happens is, now my emotions at this point of time, when I come for a presentation, I'm very excited. I what initially I said, oh my God, 7:30 in the morning, but then I can immediately shift my mind to say, never mind, it's 7:30. But I have already committed to that time, and several other people would come there. So it's a commitment, it's a responsibility. But let's get down there and make 1 hour of this torch group presentation, because I'm also meeting them for the first time. They're meeting me for the first time. And let's make it good. Let's have some fun over here in the morning. So let's have some networking fun in the morning. So if you see that picture over there, my emotion is like that. I'm excited. I'm joyous. I'm in a space of what do you say? um, typical networking mode and typical presentation mode, and making sure that this 1 hour becomes useful for people who are sitting over here. So your emotions, like all the people, your team is here. So all of you are watching me. All of you will probably be making notes that this is the good part about Abha, and this is not the so good part about Abha. And this is what we understand. This is we not understand. So there'll be constant feedback going on that she speaks very fast, or okay, she made a good point. So this is going on at this point of time in your minds, or maybe in the notes. I do not know. But when I'm talking to you, I will be able to see your emotion as well. So this is the good part about learning, and the way you can do that. If I am aware of my emotions, if I'm aware of happiness, joy, excitement, sadness, surprise, and these are all normal emotions. We all do that every day. But if you identified them and you became aware of that, you will be able to manage those emotions. Managing those emotions, and that is what emotional intelligence is all about, managing your emotions. It's not a bad thing to have emotions. It's not a bad thing to have bad emotions. But if you're able to manage your bad emotions, do you think it is going to bother you? It's not going to bother you, because it's not going to bother your work, it's not going to bother your mind, it's not going to bother anything at all. So when I come down to the lower part of that picture, the lower part is the emotion in others. So for that, I need to be very socially aware. So if I were meeting, say, a group of 100 people, and 100 people are watching at this point of time, and I cannot know everybody's emotions. So now I see there are 22 participants, for example, and 22 people are watching me at this point of time. I am clueless about what they're thinking. But I'm very aware that if 22 people have come in to listen to us, and who have joined the meeting at this point of time, they have come for some value, and they would be looking for something of value for them if they have woken up in the morning and are sitting for an hour over here. So for us, the purpose of this networking session is to bring value to the table for all the 22 people. Okay. So this is what is the important part of emotions. How do we manage it? We are aware of our emotions, they are aware of their emotions. We get into a group, we are aware of common emotions, but we need a system of managing those emotions. So we are what we do, what we see. You will see the center of the thing. We see something. I'm watching you people, 4 people on the screen. I can't see the other people, but when I'm watching you people, I'm seeing something. You're watching me, you're seeing something, right? And now what do you do in response to that? That is the management of emotion, right? So you will be responding to me, I will be responding to you, and this is what the whole world is standing on top of. These kind of interactions, whether it is workplace, whether it is your homes, whether it is your relationship, friends, children, social circles, everywhere this goes on. So if I'm aware of my own emotions, and when I ask everybody, you can put it on the chat there if you want, how strongly do you feel about your emotions? I'm giving you half a second, because I want to switch off my camera for a second, because I think my dog is knocking at the door. I just want to open the door and come back. So while I want all of you to put on the chat, what kind of emotions do you feel, and how smartly do you feel you can manage your emotions? If you could just put it on the chat, I'll just open the door and come back. Just give me 1 second.
So how's everyone? Is everyone feeling great? I think the speaker is bringing a good, positive energy that we all should be feeling like how she is feeling. Yeah, thank you bang. Memang best bang. Semuanya best.
How's it? So how was that break? Did you put something in the chat? Let's see.
Yeah, most of them put in the chat.
Good. Yeah, let me see what you guys have written. Let me stop the share. Okay. I'm feeling on top of the good. So let me go up there. So we shall chat with each other as well. Uh, okay, from here. When emotions high, intelligence is low. Yes. Okay, that's the impression this is coming from. We're going to answer some of that. Okay. Annie, and then Rosa is just joined. So I'm feeling on top of the world. That's from Annie. I'm feeling on top of the world now. Excited. Best. Bright and wonderful smile. Be excited. Starting there. Salam. Okay. Salam. Okay. Salam. Everybody once again. So now let's come back to the topic. Uh, I was talking about the management of emotions. So we have sort of understood, if everybody can see it, that it's my emotion, which is what I have to be mostly in control of. This is in control of me. I know it. So I know my emotions, right? I know where I'm bad, I'm good. So a level of self awareness has to be there, honest self awareness, that this is my emotion and this is how I manage my emotion. Now, the moment you do that for yourself, you will be able to do it with others. Please understand, you come first. You're first. Your emotions come first. And we have to be able to understand our emotions, even manage our emotions. Then you will be in a position, for example, if I was the boss or you are the boss, Zaha, and you're not in a good mood, and I work with you and your team is there. The team, I'm asking the team, does he ever get angry at all of you? Is it a bad question? So I'm asking a bad question here. Sorry.
No, it's good.
So, so does Gisela, Elizabeth, your team, Abu, does your boss ever get angry at you? And then what do you guys do? Zaha, you can switch off for a while. Let them speak.
Smile.
So now, this was a funny question. I was trying to have fun with you people. Now imagine there is a boss who loses his temper over and over, and the person in front is not in a position to manage that part. So I can manage my anger, but I'm not in a position or in control of somebody else's anger, or the way people communicate, the way people respond. So this is where it comes to a big problem when we are able to not see. And this is a topic for emotional intelligence. We need to understand this, because every human being will carry their emotions, and it's okay sometimes to either lose it. But the best part is that if you're able to manage your anger, and that happens with very powerful communication, you can manage your outbursts. That happens with very powerful communication. You can manage your sadness. So if you're sad, for example, you're not in a good mood, but you are able to lift yourself up given the circumstance that, yeah, okay, for half an hour, I'm going to function well. And then after that, I can be sad again. You want to be sad? Okay, give it a break for 30 minutes, come back and be sad. So you are managing your own mind and your own emotions in such a way. And why do we do that? Because functionality is the way uh, it needs to be understood. Functionality. We are dysfunctional. Somebody said when emotions are high, intelligence is low. This is what we think. But emotion in itself is an intelligence. Why? Can all of you see here the picture that I put in front of you? Uh, in the across the world, it is thought that the talent in Asia is very scarce, even though we are more people than anywhere in the world. You know why it is said that talent, we don't find the right kind of talent in Asia? Because there's not enough emotional intelligence here. This is a study from Harvard where they have said this, that Asia has a lot of people, but there are not a lot of people who have emotional intelligence enough to either become leaders or to function on a global level. So for me, I mean, I consider myself a global person, but I am Asian, I am Indian, I have worked in Asia, and I find it's not completely true. But the only reason it is becoming true in research is because we have not used our emotions to help us. Now, I would say, and anybody on that chat, I'm going to ask you: are you in a position? Because what? Give me, just tell me what. You see that diagram there. So there's this person who's running off with that bomb on his backside. So we have a bomb bursting on the backside. Okay. At the bottom, you see there's a pattern. So you just see that before I remove this, I'm going to bring it back again. So because I want to go on the chat. There's this person who's running off with that bomb in his backside. There is a left side is a diagram, which is the diagram of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, which is a process. And then there is a pattern. So I just want to come back on the chat for a second and ask all of you. There is a cycle to your emotions. Each time, do you feel the emotion? Do you feel it guides you? It actually tells you something is off. It tells you something is good, yes, no. So please share it on the chat. Can I go on the chat with this thing on? Yeah, I can. Hold on. Okay, yeah, I can. Okay. Randy, 1 second. Let me just go back to the top for a second. Zaha, okay, you're feeling great. Zaha, great. And reflect and behave the same, but I try to control not to do that. Okay. And Randy says, I can't wait to share the team at office. I'm a leader in internal audit. Really need a yes. I'm a leader in my own company, community, but also staff in local. Okay. Now I want to ask all of you a question here. When something hits you, what hits you when you can feel this is not right? On the chat, please. What is the part of you that tells you something is not right? What is the part of you that puts you off? What is the part of you that puts you in a state of joy? What is the part of you? It is your emotions, right? And imagine we are suppressing that part of our personality just because we have not been taught to manage those emotions or how we can do that, right? So this is the part which needs to be brought out in a smart way, not in a the bad way, not the one we talked earlier. So we can't do that. We can't be shouting, fighting, but if we have to fight, yeah, yes. Now this is thank you, Ani, for that comment. Now what happens is let me pick up from here itself. Hearing negative comments will affect my emotion, but tell me something. This is a guidance saying that you are hearing a negative comment, okay, and it is affecting you because you are not equipped to take maybe criticism properly, maybe constructive criticism, or maybe bad criticism, or maybe you've not trained your mind to take criticism and respond back in a positive way, right? So, from the same thing that I'm reading up here on the chat, hearing negative comments will make anybody, we get pissed off. We get pissed off if we are not taught to take criticism. Asia, it's a huge problem because a lot of people have an issue with opening up. And when they don't open up, they're not in a position to defend themselves constructively. So if somebody criticized me, I might go into a cycle of, sadness and then just shut up and say, okay, no, I'm not going to talk now. I'm being criticized. Why should I talk? Can I or can I not talk? So there's a doubt that comes into your mind. All of this is emotion. And if we decide to understand that and work on that, do you think we'll have a problem working with anybody anywhere in the world? I don't think so. So here is, yeah, Ani, she said untruthful. Yes. And now, if you know it's not true, do you think you should be able to process that in your head and say, okay, somebody is lying? Somebody's trying to be deliberately trying to be bad to me. So I'm not telling myself to go sad or go low on my emotions because we need continuously, we need to be in a state of functional emotionality. It is called functional emotion, cycle of emotions. So I've given you the diagram. Daisy says, being blamed while I'm right and while yes, Daisy, exactly. This is a problem that happens anywhere in the world. You okay? Look at Daisy. Are you married? Do you have kids? Counterproductive. We do not do the yes. So Roy, Daisy, and Ani, I'm going to talk to all three of you while I'm talking about this. Anybody has kids here? People have kids here. You have kids, Zaha. So do you think the kids are it's like the kids, it's the what the three things that we are talking about: blame, untruthful comments, the wrong kind of criticism. It's emotionally immature people who do that. Emotionally immature people will use these tactics at any given point of time, and children do that. So most people who are using these tricks will be emotionally stunted. You can recognize them. So if you take your children, how old are your kids? Okay, Randy, I
13,
hear you. So that's why
13 and
huh,
10 and 4.
10 and 4. So let's keep the 4-year-old aside for a moment. But your 10-year-old kid, I'm sure, is talking back. All
Oh.
kids do. Yeah, there you go. That's a ooh there. So now imagine that 10-year-old is a 30-year-old who has not worked on the mind and emotion, and now it's in a company because they are not using their emotional power or the power of understanding to mix with people, and those are the people who come and use blame. They'll become sad. They will try to spoil everybody's this thing. So a 10-year-old is allowed to do that, and because he is my child, so he's allowed to do that. But in a workspace, it can become very counterproductive. So Randy says that when I come in the morning, if I'm in a bad mood, my whole day goes for a six. And that's why I said we are in a mental position. So when the emotions don't work, we work our minds. When our minds don't work, we work our emotions. So these are two resources that have to work together. So if you see what I have sent you, the slide over there, the slide is so this is Zaha with your son. So this is Zaha running when his son is bombarding him from the back, talking it. So Zaha says, I can't handle this. So see it in an office space. When somebody says, I can't handle somebody's anger, so let me keep quiet or run off. Most people will not be able to handle emotions which are not appropriate. They escape. Now they're going to escape and they leave. And then there is the bottom part, that is a pattern where we are now, we have conditioned ourselves to stay in the same space. And we come every morning, we do our job, we do everything that we need to do. We say hello to everybody. We are, uh, finish off by 1 o'clock, it's lunchtime. We take an hour off, we call our home, and we do our work. And at 5 o'clock, we leave. This is the pattern. A lot of people do that. So there is a Zaha running off from his 10-year-old son. There is a lot of people who will follow that pattern, which they do the same thing over and over again. But there is the side diagram which says that eventually we need to work on our emotions to a point where we identify them, but we use them for our productivity. We are using them for our performance. So if I'm even sad, I am in a position mentally to block, and I can train you, because that's what we train people in. That is the training in emotional intelligence, that we train ourselves to block that sadness for a second, center ourselves, and move to the other side of the emotion, that is joy. And the moment we get joy, our performance becomes better. We don't bring that sadness into our performance. So most productivity in corporate sector goes down because people bring these emotions, they don't talk about it, they have not been taught to talk about it or to get out of it, and they work through those emotions, which is either the somebody escaping an outburst or a sadness, or staying in a pattern where you're not in where you don't actually move up in your emotional space to increase your productive this thing. So now emotional intelligence has no what do you call universal definition. So Gisela will have her own emotion. Elizabeth will have her own emotions. Zaha has his own emotions. We come with our baggages. We come with our backgrounds. We come with our education. We come with our social standing. We are, I mean, as far as you're concerned, I'll be clueless as to what bothers you. But first question to ask yourself is, what bothers me? Is there something that bothers me? So this is, I've not put it on the slide here, but ask yourself, is there something that bothers me most? So somebody said in the chat that I want to come with a good emotion. So I think it's Randy. So Randy, I want to ask you, if you can just come up on the screen for a second. You said it's important for me to start the day in a good way. One negative emotion is going to spoil the whole day. Why would you spoil some whole day for a negative emotion? So I want to hear from you, and let everybody hear, what is it that bothers you. If you come back, why have you not bothered to think that if you broke out of it, you could save a day? Why would you want to ruin your day? It's in your control. Your emotions are in your control. So Randy, would you want to just unmute yourself and tell me, and why do you allow that negative emotion to stay longer than, have you ever tried to stop that emotion and move to a more productive space? So can I see Randy here, please, if he's listening? Zaha, you'll have to probably help.
Mm, he's there.
He's there.
Yeah, he was. He did turn on his camera just now. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Randy,
yeah,
I
yeah.
did a cup of coffee with my teammates. Okay, yeah, that's an outer sort of solution, Randy. That we have a cup of coffee, we sit with our friends. But I'd say you stay in your most productive when you go to when if I were to make you 100% productive, if I told you that you are in 100% productive state, whether in the morning, early in the morning, whether it's late in the night, whether it's when people are fighting, whether there's a conflict going on, whether there's a war going on, can we stay in a space of peace enough at an emotional level? And that's where your highest productivity comes. So, like I mentioned earlier, I've worked with very high end sports people, Olympians in India, have very high stakes medals for the country. We've got medals for India in the Commonwealth Games. We've got berths in London Olympics. So what works for us is that before we take our action, we need to bring ourselves into a space of center point. If you see that this slide over here, there is some part of it which is conscious. So Randy said that I drink coffee and I feel better. But I'd say, Randy, if I did not let you have the coffee, how would you feel better? So there is no coffee, there is no friends. Are you in a position to bring yourself back up? So sometimes it's a good idea to have these physical support systems, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if I were to say we got to get better than that, and we have to ask ourselves that there is no coffee, there's no friends, there's nobody supporting me. Can I support myself? Can I support myself to come back into a state where I become my most powerful action taking capacity? So what we need to do here, if you see the slide that is up here, that there is a lot of part of us which is conscious, the part which is unconscious, and all of us have seen that diagram with the we do that below the water thing, the emotion that we do not show, and this is visible. This is the invisible part of us. So if we were to think of that, how many of us over here, of all the people who are listening to me, you are conscious of your emotions? Are you conscious of your emotions? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever worked on it? Uh, Randy says, good talks with us. Yes, Randy, this is actually a very good thought because it's chatting with good people, being in intelligent company, listening to some good stuff is always a good idea. When I'm in a bad mood, I do that. And I listen to podcasts, I go out for a walk, I take my pets out for a walk, or I just play with them or play with my children. And otherwise, I just keep myself silent before I come back to normal. So Ani says, I keep calm, I breathe in, breathe out. God gives us 2 years, 1 mouth. Listen, yes. So see, here is the thing. Uh, Ani has given an answer to what happens if we go into a state of bad emotion. So we have to just stop ourselves for a moment. Roy says control is with me, but have to, yes, Roy, it is. That's what we're trying to talk here. That it is in our control, our emotions in our control. So allowing a bad emotion to spoil a day, allowing a poor emotion to spoil some work, allowing a bad emotion to spoil a relationship, allowing a bad emotion to ruin some old friendships, allowing a bad emotion to stop us and causing delays in our work and life, that's not a good idea. Bad idea, right? It doesn't feel good. That if it was in my control, how did I let that happen? Don't we ask ourselves, how did I let it happen? If it's in my control, it's not in anybody's control. So our emotions are in our control. So the part that we need to work on, if you see that slide, there is an unconscious part, which is where we go into the bad mood. We can't tell anybody that I fought this morning. We can't tell anybody that I was angry this morning. We can't tell anybody that I was stupid this morning. We can't tell anybody that, oh, it is my fault. We don't do that, but it affects us in a huge way. So we have to make sure that we are in a position to come to the center. And that is what emotional intelligence does to us, that we calm down, we center ourselves, we are in a position to make our conscious and unconscious emotions totally becoming aware of that, and then we manage that. So if I have, uh, I'm sorry, I don't know, I was about to use a slang word. If I've done something wrong this morning, and I know for a fact that it is going to affect me badly. So my mind is going to be in a bad state. And bad state, if I need to come out, I need to block that. So we block. So we, with our conscious emotion, we block, and don't let that unconscious part come into the conscious space by hanging our faces or staying in a bad mood. So if you see that part, come to the center, come to the center. And that is where our ultimate power lies, that we do not allow that unconscious part become conscious before we take action. So the action is, it's in yellow, and yellow means slow down for a second. You see red, green, yellow lights. So red is stop, so ultimate power line is stopping yourself, and then going into that yellow slowly. Make the unconscious either conscious or make the conscious unconscious. Block, stop, and then slowly move forward with your action. Do not go with a place where there's unconscious emotion working on your mind or affecting you in any way whatsoever. Now, yeah, so now let's move to the next part. So far, are you guys okay so far? Is it relevant for you? Please let me know. So if we are okay with what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Zaha. Everybody else okay? So is there something that is not yet understood? So I can do that first before I move on to the other part, which is now a different part.
Nice.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good,
All
good.
right.
Carry on.
Okay, so far good. All right. Now, uh, our action is consisting of four things in our body consists of our emotional, physical, mental. That is the three that we are talking about, our mental and emotional so far. But you carry it in your body. Now you can fight something like that from your body as well. So I'm not touching spiritual because people over here will have their own spiritual understanding, but it becomes part of us. So whether it is religion, whether it is spirituality, whether it is our understanding about the world or whatever else we can call it, I'm taking you from the space of emotional, mental to the physical part. Do you see the physical part up there? Now, all this that we are talking about is in the body, right? So, in the body, our action comes from this body. How many of us are happy with the way we function in our body? So, please come back to the chat box. I want to know how many of us feel good in our body and we feel that we are doing our best from our physical side. Please come, not this one. My slide has to go back. Sorry. Let's come to the chat. I want you to please tell me. I'm taking you from, we talked about emotions, we talked about mind. I want to take you to your body and everybody over here. And now I want to comment from everybody. You're okay with the physical, Zaha? Yeah, okay, great. So I think people have to able to see that all this is coming through our body. My body is the mechanism, that is the delivery mechanism. I am the delivery mechanism, right? My emotion, my mind, and ultimately the delivery happens through my spoken word or through my body, right? So how many of us over here have even considered this an important part of their existence or the way they do? Because we all using our body every day, but have we optimized what we can do with our body is what I'm going to come to. So in the chat box, we have 21 people here. Only Zaha is commenting. Come on, everybody. Now, this is what the body does. It stops commenting. So please comment and tell me how much do you uh, use the body part, the physical part, and how much awareness do you have in your body to use your emotions and mind. This is what we do in our emotional fitness training, which is one of the most powerful parts. That once you're comfortable in your body, and comfortable in your body means you're comfortable not just in the emotions and your mind, but how you're going to function through your body. It's a very important part. And I still hear from nobody. So this is what the body does. The body will tell you that I am not fully aware, but I don't know what to write. I don't think I can say much about here. And should I not? So see, you're listening, but your body will block you. Okay. So is anybody feeling blocked? Let me ask the next question. Anybody feeling blocked just now? So if I were not to ask a direct question, anybody feeling that, okay, I wanted to say something, but maybe I don't get it so far, whether about the body part, I don't want to write anything because I have my friends over here. If they all see me in that state, they won't be happy. So let me see if I can talk or if I can't talk. So this is where it also goes wrong because our actions are coming from our body, but the body resists in case we are not prepared completely in the full body perspective. And one thing goes wrong. What goes wrong is our results. And the results I've shown with that dollar bag over there. We all are, when we go to work, this is the result we are looking for, right? So it reduces our results to a large extent. And then with if I am not getting my results, I'll again go into a bad emotional state. So it's a vicious circle. We just talked about it on the chat that one bad mood and one bad emotion, and what happens, the vicious circle continues and we get into that pattern I showed you. So what we have to do is that to block that part, instead of making it a vicious circle, like that butterfly thing, we keep moving out from one space and moving on to next step, next step, next step, next step. And that continuous work goes on. And we need to be taking care of our emotional, mental, and physical, all three, if you have to be emotionally intelligent, because the delivery mechanism is your body. It is very important to understand that. Now, we move to the next slide where I'm just going to tell you that this is where your personal value differential lies. Okay. Why would a leader become a leader? Because he or she is able to manage not just himself, herself, but a lot more people. This is your value differential. The moment you start attaching some value to your emotions, and this is again, I'd like to call you back on the chat. How many of us over here? So, if you were emotional about, say, a particular issue, uh, Roy has, yeah, I certainly feel that time to time. Roy, yes, it's a normal thing. We don't have to feel so strongly about it. It's normal to not, sometimes you fail at emotions, sometimes you fail at body, sometimes you fail at mind. So, my question last time I'm calling you on the chat box for this presentation, how many of us have emotionally felt very strongly about some issue? Is there an issue that you feel very strongly about? Any issue? So I feel very strongly about people building. I feel human potential is something that moves me. I'm very passionate about that. I'm very involved in it. So what moves you? Is there something that moves you? An issue. So you'll see your emotion coming up. So maybe on the chat box, a couple of people, if they can just tell what moves you. Are there issues that you feel very strongly about? Some people feel about animals, environment, pollution, or politics, or money. It could be anything. So, just in one word, what is it that moves you? And that could be the part that you need to be really, really focused on. So, maybe you can come up on the chat with anything that you feel is important for you. Let me, okay. So, I don't hear from anybody, which is okay. So, we keep that slide up there. And in that slide, discrimination, fantastic, Roy, to do what I love. Yes. So, important to be able to accept that we have these emotions, and if we feel very strongly about something, we need to be able to play it. We need to be able to play it for us. This is our biggest strength point. So if I say discrimination is something that I feel very strongly about, and then I feel, so keep working on that, because that is going to make your personality somebody who can speak up for discrimination. When you feel for discrimination, you'll be able to speak up for discrimination. And sometimes people are following this across the world as their purpose. It's a purpose to all this women empowerment thing that is going on. Why are we fighting? Because we feel we are discriminated against in terms of what we can bring to the table. So now that becomes a purpose. So if you feel so strongly about, now if you say knowledge, if you see knowledge at the bottom of the slide, a lot of people have to um, ask themselves whether there is a paucity of knowledge, lack of knowledge. racism against Asians. Elizabeth, I am so proud of you because I feel the same. We faced racism at some point in our life, uh, not just during COVID, but I think generally. If you feel, if you see, if you've been across the world, or if you see what it is, Asians are considered. um there's a book by an Indian author who's also in Singapore. Mehbubani is his name, and there's a question that they ask: Can Asians even think? So I've had fights, serious fights with people, that you cannot talk to us like this. And then you prove your point. But this goes on, and these impressions are there, and we continue to fight them. But yes, Roy, this is what we all have at some point probably gone through. So, do we feel strongly about it? And are we supposed to just feel bad about it? Or are we supposed to fight back in a constructive way and say, so what it has done is, for me at least, that when I saw that people were treating me differently, and I will not use the word racism, but they treat you differently because they have an impression. So I added to my knowledge. I said, okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back and be at par. If I'm at par, you cannot say that about me. So they've taught me to actually make myself a better person. So whether it is through experience, whether it is through your personality, whether it is through your knowledge, whether through your talent, through your gifts, your purpose, create your own personal value differential, and there your emotions play a very, very huge role. Now, I'm going to take you to the last part now. This is called the results tripod. And if you have a pen and paper somewhere, please write the words AI, AI. Is there anybody who's obviously, I'm sure somebody over here has done NLP, and NLP is a very powerful way to change our emotional behaviors or behaviors in general, and we can cause those shifts. So, if I were to say that we have spent an hour today, this slide will make the difference. So far, we have understood something. Now I say we can do something. It's time for that little change that you can bring in your entire way of being. So you empower your own shift. And I call it the results tripod. So if you can write the words AI, AI, it's very simple. AI, A for Apple, I for India. So Apple India, Apple India. So it's AI, AI. If you look at that slide, we are on the left side of the slide. The mental thing that we carry with us at all times, and we believe that is my truth, and this is the way I am going to. This is the way I am. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is my identity. This is how I speak. When I ask you questions on the chat, you answer from here. The mental syntax, you all answer from there, because this is the immediate response to what I'm asking, and this is where we stand. Now, I say we will stop for a second, and from that mental syntax, if I have to move towards that action point in the end, there is a little triangle in between there, and the immediate shift that we can cause, and this is done through the spoken word. So when we speak words which are powerful, and you can say I can do it, and you can say I can't do it, both are all right. But the moment you say I can do it, I want to get up and do this, you will change your physical state. If you see the bottom of the thing, it changes. You ask yourself, you put some positive words on the chat quickly. Put some positive words on the chat. Let's see some positive words. So like if I were to just put any let's see 4 or 5 positive words, we work around them. So yeah, love. Oh, wonderful. So love is my word too. Joy. Okay, let's see couple of more words in terms of empowerment, or in terms of forgiveness. Okay, belief. Yes, great. Yes. Okay, come up with a couple more. I want a couple more. Let me see if we can. Awesome. um, let's use responsibility. Let's use words like strength. Okay, let's see strong. Okay, let's see. Somebody put strong there for me, please. I can do it. Okay, Annie. And response. Perfect. All right. So yeah, fantastic. So now let's, yeah, we can stop here. So now we got some words here like perfect, joy, love, strong. What happens to your state? So the moment I said, you see, you put those words over there, immediately you will see this just you've spoken from your mind. But I'll ask you to stop for a second and say, you spoke this word. How does it feel? So everybody who's written their words in, yeah, you say feel good and positive. Now see, how do you feel? Quickly on the chat box, how do you feel? When you put those words there, how do you feel? Great, okay. How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? Confident, okay. How do you feel? How do you feel? Happy, all right, Rani? And yeah, flying, all right, that's a nice one, Zaha. So it's that's what I'm saying. So now, if you see that part, passionate, Elizabeth, yes. So the biggest power that we have in our body is to use cause these shifts by the spoken word. The spoken word may not yet be understood fully. So if I just asked you, you said it, and I said, "How do you feel?" You said it. So do you think that power exists in a jiffy like this? And if I were to change my state, so if you were in my seminar, I can make you move in half a second. You know, instead of a sad face, you will be flying on top of a mountain, maybe jumping from the mountain, because I told you that you can shift your emotions, right? So I am telling you, this is how it works. The results tripod is a very simple way. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling unhappy, if you're not okay, your mind says, no, 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 you stop for a second, and uh, tell yourself vis-a-vis the action that you are taking or the results that you're taking, that I need to do this because of this. Change your state, and that state can be changed by referring to yourself from the spoken word and allowing yourself to feel from a different state. If nothing works, if nothing works, if the word doesn't work, what do we do? uh, Okay, let me ask you. When I'm talking to you, how do you think is my state? I've come to you at 7:30 in the morning. It was quite early for me. I have come in late last night at about I slept at 1, and I thought morning will be too tiring, but I said never mind. But how do you find my state? Excited? Okay, and Ani, you say anxious? Okay, no, my state or your state? Thankful. Did he say thank Roy? Okay, thankful, ma'am. Okay, Roy, you're welcome. So when you see me talking, Zaha says excited, Ani says anxious. Is she talking about me or herself? So, like I have, when I come and talk to you, my state has to be very good, in the sense that all the 20 people on the networking event have to be able to at least get excited when I'm excited. If I'm not excited, you're not excited. If I don't know my job, you don't listen to me. If I don't know what I'm talking about, you won't get what I'm saying. So it is very important. Rani, thank you. Yourself, Ani, yes, yes. Okay. You're curious, of course, about the audience. I always talk to the audience, and I must, as a speaker, have to stay curious about engaging you people. So it's very, very important for me. These are the things that we all do, and so the state can be changed. So, like I said, do you think I'm? Do you, anybody think I'm sleepy? Does anybody, can anybody see I slept at 2 in the morning? Can anybody see that I slept at 2 in the morning? No, yes, I slept at 2 in the morning. So, this is what it is. So you can change your state when you become a person of emotional power. You're in a position to change your state on demand. So why I want to be a person of change on demand is because I want good results. So opportunities come far and few. Opportunities are also too many, but we need to pick our opportunities and make each one of them work. And that is what we do with our emotional intelligence, that we make use of every opportunity. My best state comes and I bring that state, I take my action, I get my results. So if I were to take it to the AI factor, so what you do is you first see, accept which emotion you are working on. Very simple. Accept the emotion. You improve upon the emotion. Then you analyze. And then you accept the emotion. You investigate that emotion. Okay. Then you analyze that emotion. You improve that emotion. So you'll have to make a note, or maybe I can put it on the chat somewhere so everybody has it. Um, Let me see. Uh, me get you here. Can you guys still see me? Yes. It's AI. Okay, so we accept, we investigate, we analyze, and we improve. So this we can do very silently, Zaha. Now you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to talk to anybody. Say I'm doing this. So what happened? Yeah, Abu Mutia, I can see her. Great. I'll talk to you once we do the question and answers. Okay, I'm just about to finish. So AI is to accept your emotion, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. You investigate that emotion, why it is there. You analyze it, and then you improve upon it. So now this is a process that we follow on a daily basis. Once we do that and we get used to the idea that we can do this, it's easy to do. It's not very difficult. Once we just have to become aware of it. And once we do that, we are in a position to actually change all our emotions and our state. And the moment our state is better, and Ibu Mutia is here. Mutia has met me in Indonesia. We've done some work together, and she knows how excited I always am. And it's not always that I'm in a good mood, but I keep up my energy levels. It's a managing your energy, and emotions can cause a lot of energy drain. So we do a lot of energy work through these emotional intelligence workshops, and we are in a position then to actually better our results. If you see everybody is happy, do you think the workplace becomes happy, family becomes happy? All of you, if you're happy just now, please say I'm happy. So I'm very happy. So everybody gets happier, and the environment raises, the energy level goes right up. And that is what is the important part of working on our emotions and understanding that we have to be able to go from the present level to the highest level. And it's a constant job. Every time you go out to do anything, ask yourself, where am I mentally? Can I better my state? And can I better my emotions? And then now can I act better? The moment you act better, you see a sad person speaking, you see an excited person speaking, you see a serious person speaking, or you see a laughing person speaking. You can make out as an audience what is going on. So ask yourself, can I do that to myself? Can I do that to myself? If I'm in a bad space, can I bring myself up and change it? This is the question that you should ask yourself, and this is the question that I will lead with when I do the end the presentation, that we all should be asking this question every time we move. Ask ourselves, can I do better than this? And if I can see it, it is very important, because I have to get along with a lot of people, and this is the leverage that we have. You see that thing, getting along with people will uh, give you several instructions. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. I'm saying be yourself and become your best version. So then you can get along with people in a very natural way. You don't have to work on it. You don't have to do anything. There's a time that you can be nice. There's a time that you don't have to be nice. There's a time that you can laugh and smile. There's a time that you have to sit seriously. And it's all right. But you've got to ingrain it in your personality in such a way. And that can be done very powerfully with emotional intelligence. So if I were to take you, this is my last slide. When we work with corporates, we do a lot of organization design. We do a lot of working for business excellence, people's excellence, and how we create that motivation around emotional intelligence, because all people have the power. Their potential needs to come out, and emotions play a very huge role in your potential. And if you can bring your best potential to your corporates, to your companies, to your circles, to your social circles, imagine what you can do to your own life in terms of the results. So this was today's presentation. Thank you very much. I can stop the share now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zaha. So now, if you are, please, we can open the thing for questions. Can I speak to Bumutia? Bumutia, where are you? Let me see you. Is she there?
Yeah.
I want to say hi to her. She's a old friend of mine. I can't see you, Bumutia. Mana you?
Hello,
Yeah,
sister.
there
How
she
are
goes. Her
you?
laughter is infectious. Yeah, mana you? Gak
I'm here.
kelihatan.
Sorry, I cannot open the video.
Camera. Okay, never mind. I can hear your voice. So good
Yeah,
to have you
it's
here,
really nice to
Suzaha.
have you here, sister. It's
Thank
really
you.
great sharing
Thank you.
to us.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Mutia.
yeah, thank you also for the touch.
Yeah, Torch Group has got me
Mr.
here, so
Siraj.
we have to thank Torch Group. Okay, Zaha, back to you.
All right. Thank you so much. It's so interesting to know that how emotion actually pretty much control our life and working life.
Well,
Yeah, I learned about emotional intelligence (EQ) when I was with the advertising company. I was working with the advertising company. So my founder, his name is Heidi. He taught me about EQ almost every day. He said, "Hey, Zaha, you are such an emotional creature. You can be angry anytime you want. You're like the incredible Hulk. So I hope you can manage this EQ so that we all can move
yeah.
forward."
Yeah, so yeah, I'm open to questions, Zaha, but like you said, it actually does control our lives, because it is there with, uh, how do I say it? Because it's like I explained to you, because emotions are part of our biology and we've grown up with emotions and we all have them. It's actually our guidance mechanism. We should not suppress our emotions in any way. We should work through those emotions. And that is what the intelligence is about. That's how we'll be able to manage it. So I may be very angry today, but even then, I would be able to work because I can manage that part. I've already worked through it. I will not allow it to disturb anything else. So if I'm, say, for example, sometimes in my office, like I'm usually in a very excited state. That's how my normal state is. So my normal state is very excited. But when I see in my workplace that people who are still a little bit, they say, I bring myself down. I say, okay, let's guys sit down together and see what's going on. And then slowly people's energy will go up. And then we are in a position to work on this. Otherwise, what happens is we are stepping on each other's toes. We without realizing it, nobody realizes that. And it's a very important part to understand that it is such a big part of our lives if we work through that, because we've all learned to be formal, we have learned protocol, we talk well, we do all these kind of things. But if still we are affected by it and we are not controlling that part of our life, our performances become very low. We are able to neutralize everything, but we are not able to neutralize our emotions. You're welcome, Daisy. So I'm open to questions if anybody has from the presentation or otherwise. If there's anything that you want to share, you want to talk about, you want to say, and you want to make a remark here, please do that. Please come up on the chat or come up on the camera. Let's talk. So Zaha, yeah, it does control our lives. It is. I wish we all understood
Yes,
that
please.
and
Yes.
allowed it to do a good job for us, because it can lead us to the peak performance. We don't use it. So if you were to do a sprint, imagine if you were not in a bad, if you're in a bad state and you're doing 100 meters, can you do it? So you have to be in a good state, right? So you have to, for that state, a lot of us are not sprinting, we are not sports people, but can I bring that state? The answer is yes, we can. Yeah. So Daisy wants to come on the mic. Will putting a depth
Okay.
help to contain anger? Ani,
Yeah.
yes. Hi Daisy, how are you?
Hi, Assalamualaikum all.
Assalamualaikum.
I'm Daisy from Tanjung Pinang, Indonesia, next to Singapore, only 2 hours by
Yeah, I
ferry.
know. Saya tadi tinggal di Jakarta.
Wah, bisa
Ya,
bahasa
saya bahasa
Indonesia.
Indonesia bisa dikit-dikit.
Lu gue nih Jakarta.
Yeah, tell me, Daisy.
Bahasa Jakarta itu, ma'am.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell me what's your question?
Most of the people is knowing emotion only anger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, I'm in therapy, anger, and many things about the emotional management, controlling. This is a good issue and a
Yeah.
good something to learn, because we are human. I think I want to share about my point of view that
Yeah,
basic of my education is communication. All of a human, we have to communicate. If something we um save in
I think we lost her
anger,
voice. Yeah,
only anger is also about happiness, something apa, a dream to reach, something to think about, and it's commonly maybe we have to have a communication and relationship with other people. Good communication and good relationship will good management of emotional, and also
yes,
most of all we have to have a relationship with our God.
I
That's
agree.
all. Yeah. Thank you for sharing it. It's about we have to recall our mind is about human. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you. You're right. I think whenever we talk about emotions, especially people say, "Oh my God, anger," and this is the problem. There are so many other emotions. So Daisy just mentioned about there's happiness, there's dream to achieve. There's so many emotions that we carry. So we just did on the chat. I asked you for some positive emotions, and look at how many words came up. So there was strength, there was perfect, there was joy, there was love. So all these emotions exist, and she has referred to the part that this world depends on communication. Our communication is driven by our emotions almost all the time, and we don't use that part. So, Daisy, you're very right. We have to recall that we are all human and all emotions exist, and we have to be able to work through those emotions to be able to use them constructively and in a proper way so that we become people of good personalities and we can maintain our relationships. And she also mentioned about God. I think it is a personal thing, but I personally believe in God. I believe God is a person who can change everything in spirit. You should be able to think from the spirit also. Allow the spirit to teach you about your emotions. Go there. Don't feel afraid of your emotions. Don't feel if you sometimes I remember a time I've met in my coaching session. They said I'm very envious. Somebody said I'm very envious. This lady, and I told her it's okay. It's part of your personality, right? Do you think you want to work through it? Do you think you want to get out of that envy? She said, yes. I said, okay, let's work through it. So when we went deeper into the coaching element, the lady had so many issues from her childhood, sibling rivalries, from her school, and this and that. I said, see, where the root of your envy lies is here. Do you think you can pull it out? So, Daisy, if you're a therapist, you will understand. You're into therapy, anger management, etc. So you will understand that if you can pull it out of the root, all these emotions do not allow them the negative emotions to exist. Identify them. Like I said, you have to just accept it is there, investigate what it is about, analyze it, improve upon it, and continue to work upon that. And that's part of your own personal therapy. It should continue at all times, and we can work through it in a very easy way. And important part of the thing that we're all human and allow all emotions to be. So thank you, Daisy, for that. Let's move to Ani. Ani, putting a deaf ear. Can you come on the camera, please? Will putting a deaf ear help to contain anger? Okay. Let me see you first. Let me see you, Ani. Where are you?
Here, she
Uh,
she's out of the room.
oh, she's out of the room.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
she could have put a.
I have a question.
Yes, please, Zaha. Yes.
Okay. Emotional intelligence is how you manage the emotion, right?
Yes.
So, what do you think about ego? In general, men have the ego, all right?
Yeah.
That's why men always lost in this EQ game
Right.
rather than women. Women, yeah, they do have ego and they have many things that they want, like
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
needs. They have 9 needs. Men only have one needs.
One
So
need.
yes, so that's why they are
Okay.
more focused. So do we need to throw away that ego in order for us to control this EQ?
Fantastic question, Zaha. I think because I saw the time, I did not touch upon this. Uh, we have talked about managing emotions, and you have touched upon the thing called ego, which everybody has. So there is a healthy ego, there's an unhealthy ego. There's masculine energies, there's feminine energies, and we need to be able to work through them. Now, are you aware that there is a biological reason why men work through ego and why women have a lesser ego? I mean, actually, they have a lot of ego, but they don't show it as much because of the way they are made. I mean, they're nurturing biologically. Now, let me give you a science behind it, so you'll understand where this ego comes from and why it is there. When a child is conceived, when a fetus is conceived, until 8 weeks of that fetus, it is not male or female. It is gender neutral. Until 8 weeks of pregnancy, the fetus is gender neutral. And this is only in the 8th week that shots of testosterone will hit the brain. It's if the male child, it hits the brain of the male child and the brain shrinks. But the female child is not hit by testosterone. So the hormone that works for the male child, for the child, for a fetus to become male is testosterone, and shots of testosterone are given to the male brain, which shrinks the brain to make that brain focused towards hunting gathering. So there's a hunter gatherer mentality, which most men have, which is where the ego comes in. They are born with that ego. So it's not something wrong with that ego. So for a male, in the manner that they are born, in the manner that they are made scientifically, their job is hunting and gathering. While the female, because their brains are not shrunk, so the communication centers remain open. Therefore, we will see women talking from emotion. That's why they have more emotional intelligence. I mean, we can call it emotional intelligence. A lot of them may not be using it, but their communication center remains open. Why? Because they have to nurture people around them. That's their biological job. So when they make a child, they have to look after the child bearing happens, the raising the child happens, raising families happen, and so many things need to be done to raise another individual. Now, for that, the nurturing capacity is there, and therefore the communication centers have remained open biologically. But now all these women are also in the workplace. Now imagine what happens. So all these women with open communication centers have now come out in the open. They're working, they're educated, they want to do, they have dreams, they want to achieve something, they are writing books, they are teaching like probably I'm doing. And this is where the difference lies. Okay, so this is the biological difference. So far, is it good? You get it, Zaha, what I'm saying? Okay, now this is what it is. So this is the first part. But the second part is that all of us contain masculine and feminine energies, both. But usually, oh, I know this person. I know him. I've seen him on LinkedIn. We are connected on LinkedIn. Okay. So when we come into a neutral space, we are neither male nor female. And I call it the neutrality zone. So your question is a great question, and a lot of leaders ask that question because their ego is not towards the other people. Their ego is to become that winning hunter gatherer. That is why the ego is there, and it is a biological fact. And a lot of people have had to work backwards to say, okay, I will hunt and gather, but I still have to deal with a lot of people. I still have to deal with other people's emotions. I still have to, because this is the old time leadership style where you say, I am the leader, therefore, I need to stay in my zone, and I got to get results. I got to, make sure the bottom line is all right. I need to do all those things, which is just, one part of the ego driven personalities that we have. All of us have that. But the other part is the emotional intelligence part where you realize that, yes, I can still maintain that ego. I can still maintain my results. I can still maintain sometimes my feminine energy where I have to be a little bit, not as aggressive as I am otherwise, but I can manage to talk and get things moving. I can manage to feel and get things moving. I can manage to discuss and get things moving. I can manage to reduce my anger and get things moving. I can manage to communicate. I can create an intervention and get things moving. The ultimate point is to get my results. So I don't always have to be in an ego state. So ego state, we leave the healthy ego there. But the unhealthy part, which becomes extremely aggressive to the point that it starts harming other people or walking over other people, that's where emotional intelligence comes in. And the leader will say, all right, I don't have to walk over anybody because this is my team. I got to move everybody. So when I'm moving everybody, I cannot walk over anybody at all. I create great systems. I create great frameworks. I have a great personality. Let me bring the best out of other people. And my ego works for the results. But let me put everybody else's ego into action as well, and the positive ego part of what happens. And that's where your emotional intelligence will be a very useful resource. So if that answers your questions,
Yes, thank you so much.
it does. Okay, welcome. Yes. Okay, Anil
Anyone
is still.
else?
Anybody else has a question?
Please, you all can ask in Bahasa also.
Yeah, Basa, I am. You can find. I'll try. I try to use my little bit of Basa.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you
Hello.
so much for the insightful talk.
Hi,
It's very
Elizabeth.
fun. Yeah. Basically, I want to ask just one question.
Yes.
Is there an easy way where we can keep track of, like you said, right? We have to apply the AI mechanism
Yes.
to accept,
Yes.
investigate, analyze, and improve.
Yeah.
So, is there an easy way for us to keep track if we have been doing the mechanism right or not?
Yes, there is. Elizabeth, you know what when we do, because we're not in a workshop just now, I would have made you do that. What you do is in your own bag, and ideally, sometimes I do it on my phone, but ideally keep a small notebook in your bag. Just keep a small notebook for yourself. This is just between you and you. It's Elizabeth and Elizabeth. So Elizabeth is talking to Elizabeth. So if you're working on a particular emotion, for example, and it's say let's say anger, because it's come up so many times. Let's pick up, for example, anger hypothetically. So Elizabeth knows for a fact that I get angry over certain things, and I need to improve upon this. Okay, so I've accepted that I get angry. I have investigated why I'm angry. So, say for example, let's pick up from the chat. You say I get angry because I see people talking negative around me or lying. I don't like the idea of lying, and that
Mhm,
makes me angry.
mhm,
So now you have accepted there is anger because of you've investigated because of somebody lying, and then you have to analyze how Elizabeth is going to change her response. So my normal response, so from I block, like I showed you that last slide, the results tripod, I block. I say, okay, I get angry when people lie. And how do I respond? I respond in just shutting down. Now, this is my primary response from my space of earlier Elizabeth. But the new Elizabeth will say, okay, I know I get angry when people lie. But instead of shutting down, Elizabeth is going to replace that response with saying, okay, I'm going to calm down for 5 seconds and I'm going to straighten up and I'll become aware that somebody is lying. But then when somebody does that, I improve my communication. This is Elizabeth response number 2. So
mhm,
Elizabeth has created a new response. So next time, anytime something like that happens, Elizabeth has a response ready. And that is the right kind of response. So you created a new response. So all we need to do is replace our responses. And the next time something like this happens, you are going to work from the replaced response. Okay. So now, if you've had that in a notebook, you keep a small notebook there in your bag, and you've noted anger, and you can do this anywhere. You can do this on your tubes. You can do this in your office. You can do this while you're walking somewhere. You've done anger because of this. You have investigated. You've analyzed what it is, and you change your response behavior. So if you were to say that somebody, Zaha said ego, for example. So ego is there, and I know for a fact that ego, he also mentioned it is because of the male thing. So we analyzed it, and then we said, how do we improve it? So Zaha replaces that ego response that he usually has a response which say, okay, this is the way I am. And Zaha replaces that response with say, okay, this time I'm going to use my body and I'm going to use some good communication and say, okay, I'll sit down instead of standing up like a, like a box. We don't do that. And I'm going to change my response. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to call my set of people, and I'll start with asking questions. So he has diffused his ego response by a new response. Now, when you do that, you will see the results for yourself, that your anger did not come up. The response from the other person also will not come, because you're not angry, you didn't shut down,
Yes.
and you didn't talk from a place of ego. So you actually sat down, you communicated differently. So this is just an example. You can do what you want to do, but once you start doing that, this becomes like your major power tool for you to be able to see for yourself. So, like, I know for a fact that when I go to malls, it's too crowded, and if I'm going for a meeting in a mall, I get very hassled because of the crowd.
Mm.
I don't like a crowded mall. So
Yeah.
I tell myself that, okay, even if there is a crowd, I'm not going to lose it. I'll keep quiet, and slowly. First of all, I go wash my face up a little bit. I've got a ritual. So we create rituals. We create replaced behavior rituals. Sports people do that. Before, like as a speaker, when I go into a seminar, if I'm speaking to 1,000 people, I do a lot of trampoline. So we jump, jump, jump on the trampoline to raise my energy. And even if by mistake I get nervous, we all of the speakers do. We do a trampoline exercise, jump, jump, and you warm up a little bit, and then you run on the stage. So you're on the stage, you're
Oh, I see.
high energy state. So you can design your behaviors, your responses, and each time you work through an emotion, design your response for a new behavior. And slowly you will see it'll become an auto thing. Then you realize, okay, and you can still go wrong, you can still go angry, it doesn't matter. And allow yourself that space, that okay, again I messed up today, I should not have. So let me go back again and create a better response. So once you get used to that AI version, that you accept, you investigate, analyze, improve, act, and you keep doing that, and you'll see, maybe if you try that for a week, to become a habit, it takes about 21 days.
Mm.
Just for a week, if you can manage to do that, you will see a change in your own mental state. Your state will be 2 notches higher. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you see yourself on 5 today, if you do I guarantee it is going to be 7, and you'll feel better about yourself. If that answers your question, Elizabeth.
Yeah, of course. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I kept taking notes when you're.
How nice. Thank you. Okay, who's
Yeah.
next? I wanted the person in the blue cap. I know him on LinkedIn. I'm forgetting his name. What's his name? Please come up. Yeah, I know him. I know him. He posts a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. He's connected to me on LinkedIn. This gentleman here, if you can see my clicker, Zaha.
It's Abang, right?
Abang. Yeah. So because he was smiling at me when I was talking to Elizabeth, and I want to ask him, what was he smiling about? Abang, would you want to come?
Abang apa ya namanya? Abang Abu.
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi. Come. We are connected on LinkedIn, Abang. Do you know me?
Okay. Right.
I hope you know me from LinkedIn also.
Yeah, LinkedIn, I'm not like really active. Yeah.
Active, but we have met somewhere. Maybe are you in Malaysia or are you in Indonesia?
Yeah, I'm in Malaysia, but
You're in Malaysia, right? I think I have met you through some workshops.
yeah.
So yeah. I saw you smiling. Do you have a question, Abang?
No. I learn a lot from you.
You learn? Okay, great. That's nice. Thank you. So Zaha, any more questions here?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, like what Elizabeth asked, the practice is AI.
Yes.
And then you said that we just need to practice this in a week at least, then we can see the result.
Yes.
But best turn into habit will be 21 days.
21 days, yes.
You mentioned that you deal with a lot of male leaders, right?
Yes.
And see, those leaders are on top most of the time.
Right.
And of course, they are called leaders, but some people call them boss. So we always can see the difference when, if the boss is the boss, then they are not the leader material. So
Right.
my question is that how can we practice this? Like, you know, we are all human.
Right.
It's not going to be perfect the first time. Like, what is the best way to practice? Do we need
Okay.
to do a routine about it, or?
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. The routine. I think one part of I'm going to pick up from your question also that when there's a boss, is not leader material, because the whole idea of leadership, let me tell you, is and I have worked with very high profile male people, because they have, like I said, there is an ego, there are results, they got to maintain an image, they inculcate some level of fear in people's minds, because of the fact that they are the boss, whether or not people will listen. So this is where it comes, when the leadership, the leader, a person who will be a leader will, and who's also a boss, will understand that the whole idea is to bring a lot of people along with him. So being a boss actually pushes people away. So therefore, there is a healthy way to look at it. And the healthy way is that the boss is also a leader. The leader is also a boss. And if the boss can become a great leader, what can one do in terms of becoming that great leader? So you said, is there a routine? I mentioned 7 days. I mentioned 21 days. The routine is very simple, Zaha. The simple routine is that you have to start an empathetic version of your people around you. You have to have more empathy. And where that come from? It comes from, say, if your team has 5 people over here. We met 5 people in the beginning, and all those 5 people will are not the leaders in your corporation. They are people, but who are contributing in a very significant way to the company, right? So that significance is the area which the leader needs to touch upon. Okay, immediately then you touch upon people's significance, you develop a sense of empathy for them and their emotions. Okay, this is what a leader does and a boss never does. Boss says, okay, um, mm, Elizabeth, you're in my team, I want this thing to get done. Please make sure it's there before 5 o'clock. Elizabeth is employed there. She'll say, all right, sir, I know I have to do this because I'm in the job. And therefore, Elizabeth will begin to work on it. But if Elizabeth was told that, Elizabeth, you are a person who has managed to up the company's profile in XYZ way, and therefore we think you're the best person to deal with this situation. So please make sure that this particular job is done, and I want it, make sure that it comes back on the table at 5. Now, Elizabeth is listening to me. Please, Elizabeth, tell me which one was the better version. I've said the same thing. You can unmute your mic.
Sorry, what's the question again? Pardon.
The question is, like, I mentioned your name as an example. So if Elizabeth is told that, Elizabeth, this is the job that needs to be done, please get it on my table at 5 in the evening. Or Elizabeth is told that, Elizabeth, this part of the work, I think you've done best. And therefore, we are assigning this work to you and we need it finished by, say, 5 o'clock today. So please make sure that it comes at 5. So which one is better, the first one or the second?
Of course, the second one.
Second one. So like Daisy earlier said, Zaha, it boils down to your communication and how much empathy and significance you can bring to the other people. That is the leader's job. If you can make people feel significant around you, they will love the boss, even if he's the boss. So the significance of people around you needs to be identified, recognized, to push people to take good action, to bring their emotion into play, to put their best foot forward. It is about significance. And everybody is working for that significance, people, and that is again a hidden emotion. Nobody says it. And but if a leader, if a boss can make people feel a sense of significance, either in the organization, whether in the team, whether in the relationship, whether for the project, whether for the money, whether for the results, the word is significance. So I think that is the difference between a leader and a boss. So if I were to answer your question, I'd say the boss should start making people feel more significant in the organization, and they will then feel become a better leader, And that routine, if you start using that word around you and looking at other people and saying, okay, uh, you know, everybody wants that significance. So let's see how I can create significance in and around me. And you don't have to go overboard. You don't have to be over nice. You don't have to do special things for that. Just understand that word. So once you understand that word, immediately you shift from being from a boss to being a leader. And like I said, do it for 7 days, do it for 21 days, do it forever. And in the process, you will be able to see that eventually people start working and behaving better, listening better. So your communications become better, your responses become better, the way people talk to each other, share with each other, that becomes better, and the results automatically go up.
It's always about the way of asking. Right?
Yes, that too. Yeah, way of asking. So I'm using the word significance because I'm taking you from the boss leader perspective. The boss says, I am the boss, so do it. The leader says, you are significant, so do it. So and how you ask, how you tell, how you expect, all those things become extremely important and become part of your personality, your communication, the way you deal with people, your interpersonal relationships, and all those things come into play. So yeah, that's how it is.
It's like the difference between Obama and Donald Trump.
Yeah, Donald Trump is like, I remember when he was fighting with the Korea person on Twitter. So he writes tweets like he's in college. You know, his Twitter handle is more like two college boys fighting. You know, so he just comes up with something and he shoots and we laugh. How does he even come up with nonsense like this? But he gets away with it. So now he's gotten away for a couple of years and now he's out of the presidency because of that. Because it's funny, but it's also sometimes stupid. So that's it. Obama, of course, is a very balanced. So you have to cultivate that balance. As a leader, that balance should be there as a leader. Otherwise, all of us should be balanced in our emotions to be able to deal with things that are happening in front of us. So situations sometimes are not in control. It is your emotional intelligence that's going to get you solutions. Every time we see significant solutions, and that makes us a better leader, better and emotionally intelligent leader. Yes, please.
Is there
Anybody else has
anyone
any more
else want to ask
questions?
question before Zaha keep on asking?
Zaha is asking interesting questions.
Oh yeah, Giselle, Miss Elizabeth asked me. Oh no.
Is the chat?
Oh okay. No, different. All right.
Yeah.
Great. Actually, we are almost there. Almost
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really nice to have you today, and that's what I thought the day I actually contacted you
Yeah.
in regards to this Zoom networking. I was like, okay, we are going to have one energetic speaker who going to boost our energy throughout the session, and it did honestly
It did.
before.
Did it boost the energy?
Yes, you did boost mine
Fantastic.
actually.
Great.
I
Thank
was
you very
I was a little bit down this morning, but
much.
when you came
Oh,
in, I felt a lot better. So yeah, hopefully when the pandemic is over, we can bring you to Indonesia or
I would
Singapore or
love to.
Malaysia.
I'm in India just now. I had to come because of some reasons here. So
Yes,
yeah,
Elizabeth is asking for your number.
I have put
So
it on the chat. So if
great.
anybody wants to connect with on WhatsApp,
Thank you.
or please do connect with me on LinkedIn, and let's connect again. I'd love to come to Indonesia,
Yes.
Malaysia, wherever. I'm
Please.
tired of sitting for an year in India. We should have traveled more. So I would love to come and
Before,
be.
great.
Sorry, so, sorry, I missed what you said. Sorry.
No. Continue. I was
Yeah,
about.
so I'm saying thank you very much for contacting me, and I think I enjoyed the session very much. I hope it was useful for all of you. And before I leave, I want to just give a story on emotion, which is a personal story, because I think we still have 5 minutes to go. And I want to tell you a story about a time when I used my and with emotions also come your gut feelings, your intuition, which I have not touched upon because that's a very big topic and I did not want to bring in this short time. But I'll leave you with a story. And the story goes back to when I was 15 years old. And Mutia has met me. I don't know who else has met me here. So I'm just 5 feet in height. And with that height, in Indonesia, we are we wear these big heels and look taller. So that's a lie. I'm only 5 feet. So when I was younger and when I was just 15 years old, Siraj, thank you very much, Siraj. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. So the story is that when at 15 years old, I was in school and I played basketball. But because of my height, I was not included in my school team because it did not come into the range of you needed to be minimum 5'4" and above as a girl. So now I'm 5 feet and but I was a very good player. So I continued to persistently follow my coaches and my teachers and say, I want to be in the team. And they say, no, I want to be in the team. And they'd say, no. But we will. I was a persistent kid. I would just go behind them. And finally, one day it happened that there was an inter-school match going on between our school and another school. And the one person from the team, I think, was absent for some reason. And who's the person that extra went missing? We have two extras. So I was called to be that extra. I was very happy. So at least you're an extra. You won't get to play, but please, you are at least some movement in my life from being a nobody in basketball to becoming an extra. So that was an achievement. And I went and sat on the bench outside. So now we are cheering our team. This match is going on, and the match is at 30 all. And this is 3 minutes to the match point. And probably we just needed one basket to win the match. And I am sitting in the outside and cheering my team. We are shouting and we are very happy. We are excited and everybody's all over the place. The court is covered with almost 100, 150 people cheering for each other and etc. etc. And suddenly the captain of my team falls. When you're sitting outside on the bench, you have all these thoughts that I can do this when I get in there. I'd be, if I was inside, I'll play it like this. And, I'm going to do this for my team, if at all. And this if is going on in my mind. And suddenly this captain of my team falls and hurts herself. So when she hurts herself, she is removed from the court and I'm called in. Suddenly, like, this is just 3 minutes to the match, one basket, 30 all, and I'm an extra. So my mindset is that of an extra. What does an extra do? The extra will just pass the ball to the main players. If you've seen any matches, the job of the extra is to just come in and fill the gap. So from that mindset, I entered the court and I'm filling the gap. I'm passing the ball and I can't understand what is going on because it's very sudden. By the time you recalibrate yourself, it registers that now you're on the court and we are very excited, but I'm still the extra. So my mindset is working on the extra part. The ball goes out of the court and it goes out from the center line and it's just from in front of me. So I get to throw the ball back in. Now I'm standing on the center line and looking everywhere. These girls, tall girls, big, intimidating women that I was so short. I was almost near their knees, all of them. And I'm not able to figure who to throw the ball to because this is now 2.5 minutes to the match. And we are looking, everybody is saying, throw the ball, throw the ball. The coach is saying, throw the ball. Now, suddenly at that point of time, my gut hits me and says that you have a mindset of an extra just now. Remove that mindset. Now, let's see if you can take that basket. You need one basket. And I'm standing there on the center line and looking at the basket. So this is diagonally 70 feet with the height. And suddenly I realize, what if I make that basket? If I make that basket, we win. But this is not part of the rules. But my gut tells me if I did that, we'll win the match. So what do I do now? So everybody is telling me otherwise. Pass the ball. The coach also tells me pass the ball. And they're looking at me. What am I waiting for? So I try that, but I can't figure a way to pass the ball to who? And then my mind runs and says, okay, if I pass the ball, this is 2.5 minutes. The ball is going to come back into court and 3 minutes are going to go, 2.5 minutes going to go. We go into the penalty shootout, and that is the easy part. Let me see if I can do that basket. So I turn my body 45-degree angle. I look at that basket, and my coach is now angry. So we are not taught how to respond to anger. So I just said, usually in sports, when we can't talk with this noise, people say, look at me like this. And we use this sign all the time. The coaches use this sign. So the coach is asking me, what are you doing? So I told him, sir, watch me. So I just did this to him. So now he is like, from the side of my eye, I could see he was doing this. And what's coming up now? So I turn my body 45 degrees. I look at that basket. And somewhere inside my mind and my heart, I knew. And my emotion told me, don't throw the ball. Try, give it a try. Give it a try. And I do that. And I get that basket. So emotion is that strong. So we need to start listening to our emotions and allowing ourselves to follow that emotion at some time, take those chances, take those risks, work on ourselves, and do that AI process, and create some very powerful responses in our lives around our behaviors. So our action becomes 100% perfect. We can give it a try. So thank you very much, all of you.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's an interesting story.
Thank
But
you,
before,
sister.
Thank you, Babutia.
before you go, we have some
Yeah.
little gift for you. This
Hmm.
I'll forward to you soon.
Thank
This
you.
is your
Thank you.
certificate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here and
Thank you.
share your knowledge and
Thank you.
insight and about everything. It was very
Thank
interesting.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Hopefully, we can see you again in the upcoming week.
All right.
Don't forget to follow us. And yes, thank you so much. And bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye, everybody.